Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to do your first body paragraph, your reason number 1. Okay, so a couple of things that you need to have. You need to, 1, have your brainstorm still. We're going to need this the entire time. 2, you need to have the slides open. That's going to have all of your instructions and information. And then 3, you need to have your actual document open. Okay, so let's look at the actual document. All right, the first thing that we need to do is we need to have our claim. That's also what our instructions say. This is going to be the order of our paragraph. We're going to have at least 5 sentences. First, we're going to have our claim, then a cite, then clarify, and then a second cite and second clarify. Okay, so first thing I need to do, my claim. I'm going to go ahead and split screen this bad boy. So if you need to do that, if that is helpful for you, then you should pause this video right now so that you can split screen it. All right. So first thing it says is that our claim is the thing we're trying to prove, right? You're either trying to prove that the injustice against Indigenous people was primarily motivated because of bias, or it was primarily motivated by financial gain. Those are the only 2 options you have right now available to you. So we're going to go ahead and click here. We're going to highlight that or copy it. We're going to go ahead and paste it. Let's paste it. Cool. Injustice against Indigenous people is based on blank because blank. So this, again, we're getting from our brainstorm. Did you say it was because of bias, or did you say it was because of financial gain? So in my last example, I said that it was bias. So I'm going to continue on my example. Again, you should not be copying my example. This is just my example. So I'd fill that in, bias or financial gain. Because, and then you're going to do the first reason that you have listed right here in your thesis statement. Okay? So in my example thesis statement, this was my first reason, that there was a civilization campaign meant to assimilate Native Americans. So that's what I'm going to write there. I'm just going to plug it in. Injustice against Indigenous people is based on bias because there was a civilization campaign meant to assimilate Native Americans. Cool. That one should be easy because you should already have this. Again, it's on your brainstorm. It's on your thesis statement. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video. Go do that now. Okay, so now that we've done our claim, we're going to go through to the next one. We need to cite some textual evidence. Okay? So I can copy this sentence frame. Again, you don't need to use a sentence frame. The sentence frame is just there to help you if you need it. I'm going to use it. And I can paste that bad boy right there. Paste. According to paragraph blank in source blank, it states blank. So my example is from source 2. So I'm going to put according to, and I know that my quote was in paragraph 2. So I'm going to put in paragraph 2, source 2, it states. Now here, I'm not going to copy what I have on this T-chart. I'm going to copy what I have in my graphic organizer for my text evidence, right? That's the one that we had on paper. So that's what I need to find. I need to get copy it word for word off of my article. So I can put here, the goal of the civilization campaign was to make Native Americans as much like white Americans as possible, until I get to the end. Okay? That's what you should be doing right now. So every single person right now, I want you to stop, pause it, and copy it word for word from the text. Now you can either do it straight from the text like I just did, or you can do it from your packet in your T-chart, okay? So go ahead and pause, do that right now. Okay, so by this point, you should be moving on to your clarify sentence. Oh, one thing, please don't forget, right, to have your, I already have them in there for you, but please do not forget your quotation marks. You need that, otherwise you're plagiarizing. So add that in there. Unless you're quoting or you're paraphrasing from the video, right, because you're not writing down what the video said word by word. You are paraphrasing in that one, but if you are copying word for word from the text, you need to make sure that you have those quotation marks, okay? All right, moving on. In the next paragraph, I am going to clarify my sentence. So what I need to do is I need to make sure I'm answering this question. What was the unjust event that happened, and how does it show financial gain or bias? So how did that unfair thing show financial gain, or how did that unfair thing show bias? So I'm going to copy this. And a reminder, this is the most important part of your paragraph. I know that you guys can make a claim. I know that you guys can cite evidence, but can you explain to me why? Why does that quote show financial gain? How does that show that someone was making money off of Native Americans? Or how does that show bias against Native Americans? You need to explain it to me, and I promise you, you cannot over-explain it to me. I need you to walk me step by step. How did you get from point A to point Z? So we're going to go ahead and paste our little sentence here. This quotation shows that I need to explain how does this quote show bias, and how does it show that this unfair thing happened because of bias, because that's what I'm talking about. So I can say this quotation shows that the injustice or the thing that was unjust is blank. What was the thing that was unjust? And then this happened because of bias, or this shows bias because whatever. Okay? So we're going to pause and we're going to fill out these sentences right now. How does this thing show, or what was unjust about this thing, and how does that thing, why did that happen because of bias, or why did that happen because of financial gain? Okay? Cool. So if you're with me right now, you should be working on the next section of your paragraph. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cite another piece of textual evidence. If you're saying that there was a civilization campaign or whatever it is that you're arguing, there should be more than one evidence that proves that. Okay? So what's another piece of evidence that proves that? So I'm going to copy my sentence frame. I'm going to go ahead and paste it. So you can say on paragraph blank, in paragraph blank, or you can say in source blank. Again, you do not need to use the sentence frames that I'm giving you. They're just there for your help, for your, if you need them. Go ahead and put in your next quote. So go ahead and pause, put in your next quote. Okay, so again, this quote should be showing whatever you wrote here in red. If I'm talking about there being a civilization campaign, both of my quotes should be talking about that. Now, last part is my second clarify sentence. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. This is important because blank, again, how does this show that it was unfair, and what was unfair about this, and why did that unfair thing happen because of either financial gain or bias? I promise you, again, you cannot over-explain it to me. So go ahead and write it down. Okay, so now that you're done with that, that's the last section of our paragraph. So now we just need to double check that we have everything. Do I have a claim? Do I have my cite? Clarify, cite, clarify. So I should have red, cool. I have my first cite. I have my blue. I have my second cite. I have my second blue. Now, a reminder, a good rule of thumb. Your blue should be a lot bigger than your green. If you are quoting a lot, if you're giving me a lot of quote from the text, then that means that you have a lot to explain. So your blue should be just as, if not bigger, than your green. Okay? If you've got like a fat chunk of green and you have one itty bitty sentence in blue, that means that you did not do enough explaining. And you need to go back and fix that. So I want you to check that right now. Check. Is your blue just as big or bigger than your green? If it's not, you need to write more. Okay, so now that you've checked to make sure that you have adequately explained everything, we're going to just check our color coding and we're going to check our spelling and grammar. So I have my red, then green, then blue, then green, then blue. Cool, that looks good. I'm going to double check my spelling and grammar just in case. All right, no available suggestions. That means everything looks good. So then that means that I can come here and back to Google Classroom and I can now turn in this assignment. Go ahead and turn it in. And then you're done. Perfect.